The European Union spread fake news to destabilise Brexit Britain, and Emmanuel Macron gets ready to veto the trade deal. Hello everyone and welcome to today's show. This is going to be quite tricky because at the time of me making this video, both the UK and the EU are currently negotiating. So when I upload this, you might have a new update. So I'm just going to focus on what's happened yesterday in the last 24 hours, 48 hours with the negotiations, fisheries and the level playing field. What's been happening is that the European Union are now going around spreading fake news. Yesterday, EU sources started briefing The Guardian and the BBC saying that the United Kingdom have now officially compromised and we have reached an agreement on fisheries. Yeah, sure. And then the UK government came out and said, no, that's not true. Now, again, just to clarify, at the time we're making this video, we haven't reached an agreement. We might, actually, could be today, could be tomorrow. The UK could sell out. Boris Johnson could sell out. Could be a massive compromise. Boris Johnson could completely reject the talks. Boris Johnson could actually get a good trade deal. This is not about that because I cannot predict the future. You know that. I've tried my best. The issue that we have, I'm going to give you the summary and analyze the whole situation because Laura Kuenssberg initially tweeted saying that EU sources, whoever they are, suggest that breakthrough on fish happening. The UK government sources emerge to say that is not at all the case. It continued because Tom Newton-Dunn also tweeted this from Times Radio, saying that the UK government are dismissing the reports of a deal on fishing tonight as the European Union spin. I'm told that fisheries hasn't even been discussed yet by the teams in Brussels. Now, the UK government are saying that there's been no breakthrough on fish. Nothing new has been achieved on this today. Level playing field still seen as the big one. That's true. And I've been saying this for a long time. The fisheries is just an excuse and it's primarily focused from the Dutch and the French. But the biggest game players are Germany and the rest of the bureaucrats in Brussels, what they actually want to achieve. The issue that we have, a lot of people fell for this last night, including Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage went on Twitter, got angry, saying, oh, this is it, we're all going to die. No, everybody calm down. We don't know yet. We might, compromise and actually have a terrible, terrible Brexit trade deal, but we don't yet. So let's not jump to any conclusions. Tom Newton-Dunn continued by saying that from its side, the EU sources are still insisting that there has been progress on fish in the last 24 hours. But at the same time, they admit that it's still not the killer issue. We knew that. It's always been about a level playing field. That is the deal maker or breaker. Now, you think that would calm the situation down, considering Boris Johnson spent about an hour on the phone with Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, throughout the weekend, and nothing was actually achieved. They both agreed that Boris Johnson has said, we're just going to spend the next few days, final attempt to achieve something in these talks. Otherwise, the UK is ready for no deal, and we're not going to compromise our sovereignty. On the other hand, putting aside the level playing field situation, France, one of the MPs for the French government, who's also a close ally to Emmanuel Macron, came on British TV to say that we don't really care about what the bureaucrats in Brussels want, their demands. He's ready to veto the trade talks. So France might actually end up giving us no deal Brexit. Thank you, I guess. So let's watch this clip.
Since the beginning of this procedure it follows a procedure which is in the treaties of the functioning of the European Union and which requires every single member state of the EU to agree to the final deal.
And
so
therefore France
every
has
member
a veto.
state of the EU is liable to veto this deal or is liable to accept it. Just as, incidentally, the British Prime Minister is absolutely liable to veto the deal as well. It's very clear that in the end, it has to be the 28 leaders, so the 27 plus the British Prime Minister, who agree that this deal is the right deal for it to actually take effect.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because the French have always said that a no-deal Brexit is bad for Britain. But then now they've also been panicking that it's bad for the European Union. Now they're saying that, oh, it's fine. We don't really care. We don't really care about economics or any consequences. We're just going to be going with the demands of the French, which is, I understand why they have to do it because they're the French fishermen The voting bloc is huge, and Macron is already losing a lot of support for the next election. So I don't really blame him. On the other hand, George Eustace, the Environment Secretary from the UK government, came out and said, we are not going to compromise our sovereignty.
We're negotiating with the EU as a sovereign equal. There are certain things we've been clear from the start that we cannot compromise on, and that is our sovereignty as a nation, our ability to control our own laws, and our ability to control access to our waters. Those have been clear from the beginning, and while of course in these areas we can give undertakings and have political agreements, we can't do anything that fundamentally violates our sovereignty, and we've been clear on that from the start.
Well, I completely agree with him, and I really hope that the UK government stick to this line, and Lord Frost, the chief negotiator, continues to battle this nonsense. George Eustace also said and admitted that it was actually the European Union that last minute they came and added more demands.
There was some hope early last week, some progress was being made, and at one point it looked like there might be a breakthrough, but obviously then the European Union added a whole load of additional demands after that, which caused some problems. So, we're going to continue to work. We'll continue to work on these negotiations until there's no point in doing so any further. But there's no point denying either that what happened late last week was a setback.
Well, I'm not really surprised. And the whole issue is that these sources that came out a couple of nights ago randomly saying that, oh, yeah, fisheries is sorted, the UK are basically compromising. They knew exactly what they were doing. They're fueling the whole thing. And obviously you have people like Nigel Farage, you had a number of others getting quite nervous and worried. A lot of Brexiteers, you also have a lot of Remainers celebrating, saying, yeah, soft Brexit is coming. Everybody needs to stay united for now until we know exactly what the negotiations are going to be like. We don't know yet. So try your best to not just listen to The Guardian or the BBC on this issue. Today is Monday, so the government are also bringing back the internal market bill. Again, the time of me making this video is already done in the House of Commons. This is going to be the big issue during this, because even if a deal is agreed, it could still be cancelled. As I've said in the last couple of days, even if both sides agree to a deal, the European Council need to approve, the European Parliament need to approve, the UK Parliament need to approve, all the countries need to do the same, and the internal market bill, which they say is controversial because it's going to break international law, in reality it's going to be protecting the integrity of the United Kingdom and the Union, to keep Northern Ireland as part of the kingdom. But obviously the European Union don't see it that way. So they might actually, if we do this, they will just veto the whole thing anyway. So even if we compromise, but still introduce this, we could still end up with no deal. So let's just wait and see how it goes. Even the ERG, the European Research Group, the Eurosceptic Conservative MPs, the hardcore Brexiteers, are now still backing the government. They are on this issue. It's interesting because this is the same group of MPs who are quite anti-government right now, anti-Boris on a number of other issues with lockdown and the economic crisis. But on this issue, they're still behind Lord Frost. They've issued a statement on Sunday saying that they have the fullest confidence in David Frost and the British negotiating team, saying that we have nothing to fear from freedom. This continues because David Jones, who is the deputy chairman of the ERG, has told The Telegraph that it's now time for the European Union, finally, to understand that the British people have voted for independence and will be satisfied with nothing else. That's common sense in considering the whole situation. Now, throughout this whole thing, Ian Duncan-Smith has been very, very robust, the former leader of the Conservative Party. He's also written an article in The Sun saying that if Britain can't get a good Brexit deal, we should tell Mr. Barnier that it's no deal and just walk away. We've been saying that. I know it's kind of obvious, but he's actually done these bullet points, questions for Lord Frost to ask himself. So Lord Frost had to consider these points. Will the UK exit as one United Kingdom, setting its own tariffs on trade deals? It goes back to the internal market bill. Have we broken free of the European Court and taken back control of our laws? That's a tricky one. We have to make sure that we don't really get tied to the ECJ. Will we have cooperation but not political alignment with the European Union? That's the level playing field. Is the UK out of the single market and customs union, able to take back control of our money, our trade and our fishing rights? Again, goes back to protectionism, part of the EU. And he's said, Ian Duncan-Smith, that If the answer to any of those questions is no, Lord Frost should put down his pen, get up and say, I'm sorry, Monsieur Barnier, but this isn't good enough. Goodbye. I am fully behind Ian Duncan-Smith on this. Considering the European Union already have a lot of other issues to deal with, they have the recovery fund, the EU budget, the 7-year EU budget, that's not going too well. Reuters are now reporting that Hungary and Poland, who have been blocking this budget because they're having clashes with Brussels, France are now coming out to dictate for the rest of Europe, saying that, you know what, we're just going to go with the budget and we're going to borrow a lot of money. We're going to destroy ordinary people, working classes, small businesses, and we're not going to give anything to Hungary and Poland. We're going to kick them out. I mean, feel free to kick them out and see what happens afterwards. Ordinary people in Hungary and Poland are not going to be happy about this. So this is obviously the economic recovery fund that, you know, their idiotic plan to borrow a lot of money, to raise taxes, and create a burden on smaller countries to pay it back. But they're saying that countries like Hungary and Poland need to obey to our rules. So this is, again, goes back to their countries like Hungary and Poland saying we have our sovereignty, we want to, you know, decide how we want to run our own country, but the European Union say you can't. So it's a whole tricky situation. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the next few hours. I really hope by the time of you watching this, nothing's actually been achieved, because it will make this video quite complicated. So we'll see how it goes. But we still believe in Britain. If you do believe in Britain, don't forget to get your latest I Believe in Britain merchandise. The link is in the description. Get your hoodies, coffee mugs, and t-shirts, and prepare for the end of December, because with or without a trade deal, we are leaving the European Union and the transition period. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.